So hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Water Cooler Chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's orchestrating, transcoding, gatewaying, AI inference, developing, anything to do with the Livepeer ecosystem. We are here to ask questions and get answers. We got a couple topics ahead of us. The Treasury proposal, startup grants, bounties, some gas spike, technical conversation we can get into later on. So I'll kick us off by talking about kind of the most time critical topic, which is around the Treasury proposal. For those that don't know, there is a Treasury proposal from the Cloud Livepeer Cloud SPE to do AI job tester and performance leaderboard development. It's been live for a couple days now, and there's been lots of discussion in Discord. So I guess I can start with I guess where do we start with this? It is live. There's been lots of conversation. Who would like to kick off with their opinion on, or I guess their kind of rundown of what it is and what they're seeing, and express their opinion on what should happen here. So maybe Doug, do you want to kick us off? It was also your topic.
Sure, I'm happy to talk about it. Papa Bear's on the call. Do you want to give just like a 1 minute overview of what the proposal is for everyone in case they're not aware?
Sure. Wow, that's so weird. I can't hear myself, but I can.
We can hear you.
I'm working here. Yeah, no, it's just it just sounds weird to me. Anyways, the proposal has been posted, and I think I'm gonna give a brief kind of summary of it to the best I can. I figured most people knew what it was. So yeah, it was a proposal that the cloud put up to put up additional metrics and do an AI job tester that's specific to testing the AI jobs on the network, and then add that to the leaderboard just to give more insight to both, or really to orchestrators, delegators, and just anyone who's interested in seeing how the network is performing on AI tasks. Certainly I've seen, since the proposal went live, there's been a lot of discussion about the price of it, which is, fine to, for people to express their opinions on. And I know we put up a post explaining, our position on that, but if happy to answer any questions if there's anything specific that someone wants to know.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for the overview. I have a bunch of thoughts. I might not share them all up front because I want to hear other people's discussion. But I think the proposal's been made. There's voting has begun, as Titan indicated. I think it's about a 50-50 split so far with those who have voted, which is maybe around 27-28% of all the stake has voted so far. So pretty good early turnout, and obviously opinions are split. I wanted to, I guess, share a couple thoughts on the what is actually being proposed and built here, and then maybe share some of my comments of some of what I think are misconceptions in the discussion that's going on. And then we'd love to hear others as well, and can maybe respond more later. First of all, I think just the foundational element of having an AI tester is really, really important and critical to the project. We've had a transcoding stream tester for years, and what that's done is it's allowed everyone in this ecosystem to see which nodes are actually performing well at transcoding on the network in different regions around the world, and that helps delegators know who's actually helping the network and capable of doing real work. That combined with the fees they're earning, it helps potentially the nodes themselves select who to work with, who not to work with, to get a higher quality of service, etc. So it's really important. And for AI tasks, doing this testing is even far more complex. It's not just sending 1-2 second segment of video to every node from every region, but it's actually requesting inferences from different models, maybe in different regions, all these different job types, from image generations to video generations to subtitle generation, speech to text pipelines. These all require different hardware, different VRAM, different amounts of VRAM, different resources, etc. So I think there's a lot of different job types. I think doing things like testing scale becomes a little bit more important. We don't really do that on the transcode side. Maybe we should, but knowing, hey, can this node operator just handle one job at a time? Jobs, is an operator running multiple models or just one model? I think there's a lot of complexity to building this tester. So I saw some comments that said, oh, this could be built in one afternoon by one engineer, or this is a month of work for one engineer. Maybe it is to take an initial stab at building an initial prototype, but combine that with how complex it is and how fast the network itself is changing, where new models and pipelines are being added, new pricing mechanisms are being created, new customizations in terms of bring your own pipelines are being added. It's just going to be like an ongoing, never-ending iteration for the next 6 or 12 months that requires near full-time attention as building a critical component in this ecosystem. So I think it's important that people understand that complexity and understand how important it is, and understand how it's going to be not just like a one and done thing, but an iterative thing. So that's one point. Another is that I just along those lines, I don't look at it so much as like just funding a single development effort, as much as like funding a core team that's going to be working closely with the AI SPE, working closely with the Inc team, just to make Livepeer AI successful, and will be highly iterative in that process, and engage with supporting users, supporting orchestrators, supporting users of this tester, integrating it into the Explorer, supporting delegators who want to understand the information, etc. Whether that's written in the proposal or not, I think that's totally fair feedback, and whether the proposal should be more explicit or there should be clear contracts about what that support means, I think is always a question. But I think the amount of work and the idea of funding like a core team to build this critical component, I think is worth internalizing for everyone.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Might be it for now. What's that?
Okay, I just wanted to say, I think you brought up a really good point that we went through several iterations of this proposal, and it started off actually as a much bigger proposal. And I think some of what we actually ended up posting was maybe too condensed, because some of the feedback we got from a few people that we shared it with before even posting the pre-proposal was that it was very technical. And it was, originally it was 10 pages, and we did also bring down the scope from that. But I think that there was, on our fault for not really clarifying that it's not a one and done thing, and this is an ongoing, at least 1 year project that we will be, continually updating, supporting, and providing all the infrastructure for it. And I think the way that the pricing got was displayed didn't really reflect the length of time and commitment that we're making to this. So I think it's definitely understandable why it was perceived as like that's a lot of money for a small amount of work. So we definitely understand that. Unfortunately, the proposal's live. We can't change it. We could certainly say in good, we intend to do all these things, but it's still that would be requiring just kind of a good faith thing, because it's not in the actual contract. But those are good points that you brought up, and an error on our part, I think, for not being more detailed and explicit on what really was involved. And I think it was partially because we've gone through so many iterations. Like in our minds, we're very familiar. We went through it so many times that we knew what the goals were, but I don't think we did a good job of actually putting that into the proposal. So I definitely understand a lot of the criticism, and I just wanted to get that out there, and appreciate you actually highlighting that.
Cool. Yeah. Also, like I said, don't be acting like this proposal is dead on arrival or failing or anything, right? I think there's a lot of support. I think it's pretty close right now, and I think like this conversation and any forum posts or Discord messages can help follow up. I also love that the community is like discussing this and cares about trying to understand it and get the amount right. And the fact these things are a little controversial means people care. I don't know if I love the tone of all of the discussion. Anytime things are bordering on like accusations or attacks, I don't think that's a healthy way to discuss these issues, because obviously everyone here cares about making Livepeer succeed. But definitely encourage everyone to weigh in and vote and give the feedback and share their concerns and say what they want to see in the next proposal. If this one did fail. So I think that's all healthy. Last point I want to quickly make is just to highlight that a portion of this proposal, I actually think maybe too small of a portion, is earmarked for actually paying the infrastructure costs to run the tester, aka those are like the fees that the node operators and delegators will be earning. I think that is important. I think that like this tester does deserve a significant budget to pay fees into the network over the next 6 months or year or so, because that's going to be how we determine what nodes are performing, which ones are performing at scale, how we test and iterate on this, and those fees sort of flow back as subsidies to the nodes themselves, which is totally worthwhile because people are bringing capacity before there's a significant amount of demand, and this helps them compete and show their worth and prove to everyone how they can perform. So I think that should be a big part of the budget and the proposal, and I'm totally supportive of that aspect of it.
Very good. I'd like to also add a couple comments from myself. Papa, do you want to just respond to any of that before I move on to my opinion?
I don't have anything really to add to it other than I just kind of want to say thanks to Dop for helping now articulate that better than I can, or than I could, or did, or in the proposal did. So I don't have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer, like I said, answer any questions specifically that people have.
Very good.
And I see Varys actually has a question here about that. He's asking, does the Cloud SPE commit to maintain and update with new models, et cetera, on the tester for these? So yes, we do. We do, and that was definitely something that we missed in the proposal, and that's a very fair point. That it makes it hard because of that. I can definitely understand why the price seems like high. Because again, the support and the ongoing maintenance, it's not just maintenance, it's adding models. So there is continued development, or at least that's what we plan, that will be continued. I mean, we've seen how many models have just been added in the last couple of weeks, how many different models that are starting to come on, and there's more talk about even more complex models. So yes, we do. And, like with our first proposal with the, where we're running the free to use streaming gateway, we, we also added we're all, we really want, we're here really for Livepeer and to help Livepeer succeed in any way we can. We ran the AI gateway as well, which was not part of our original proposal, but, we're happy to do that. And, we run all the infrastructure for that. And we just used basically funds that we had received from the first proposal to run that. We haven't asked Livepeer to, or anyone to fund that. It's just that we're just doing that, because we think that it's important for people to be able to run AI stuff, and it's actually turned into now it's the main gateway for running AI jobs, both for startups, Tsunami, and anyone else that wants to just use it. I mean, it's completely free to use. So I just wanted to add that, I don't want to say trust me, because I think that sounds, whenever someone says trust me, I get nervous. But we do have a track record of providing more than we promise.
Yeah, excellent. I really appreciate, Pablo. Thank you for being here, by the way, and addressing some of this, and thank you, Doug, for coming in and adding more color to kind of the proposal and what some high level things. I'd like to also kick off, like I think a lot of this discussion started with a post Nico made around 3 bullet points around why to vote against the Treasury proposal, and I immediately replied with a with the other side, which is, here's exactly 3 bullet points why to vote for the proposal, and that kicked off a pretty large conversation in the general chat. So I think I just want to if I just cover some of those, just the initial points that were made, that might help also give some context if you haven't had the time to read through the whole conversation in general chat. So, I wish Nico was here. I did invite him up to come talk about this, but that's fine. He might be in a tough time zone to join these. But yeah, so, his bullet points were funding ask was way too excessive. The number 2 point was no transparency. And the third point was no goodwill from the cloud SPE to adjust the proposal to be more transparent, iterative, and appropriate. And so he did make a longer thread around how he got to these conclusions. They're in the governance channel. And so, those are all fair comments. You can make these type of things to position your argument for what you think. My rebuttal to that was asking for funds is way too excessive. I said, well, there's a risk of volatility in the LPT token itself. And as you probably have seen in the last 24 hours, volatility is really high. So, take it. I didn't predict we would be down, 30% in a couple of days during the Treasury proposal. But that seemed to have happened. So right off the hop, the amount that the SPE is receiving is substantially less in USD terms. However, the original proposal was based in USD, so volatility is not really a large factor in the ask, because that's not. So anyway, that was one of my points, was volatility of it. Even for the long term, if the SPE were to sell it all on day one, how does the volatility of the LPT, if they were to hold it for over a year, right? These are risks that need to be priced in. The other rebuttal I had for funding was way too excessive was, this team of people have deep knowledge of the network, and it's easy to say you can hire a dev to do this in a couple of days. Yes, maybe if they have deep knowledge of how Livepeer works, but there's a premium to having a deep knowledge to how Livepeer works, because there's not all that many engineers and developers who do have that knowledge, and so there is a premium to that, I think. So it's easy for one person to say, I'll do it for cheap, but that's not what the market rate is for someone who has specific knowledge on these types of networks, right? So that was kind of like my second thing was, these are experts in this field, or at least within Livepeer, and so there's a cost to bringing them in. And third is like early stage bureaucracy of the Treasury. Yes, we're setting a precedent, but it doesn't mean the precedent can't continue to get better over time. If we just keep voting down things in the early stages, I think that's just going to put a negative spin on people who are invested and interested in building open tools that benefit the Livepeer ecosystem. Because if it's really hard to get funding in the early stages, I think it's just going to discourage people from really even putting forward better proposals and doing this. So, just early stage price bureaucracy, I think it could be a detriment to early stage Treasury. So those were my rebuttals on the funding is too excessive. The second one was no transparency. I thought it was transparent, in my opinion. They have a track record of following through. They're here at the water coolers. They're in chat. Seems transparent to me, but I think that's in the eye of the beholder. And the last one was no goodwill from the SPE to adjust the proposal. I think there's goodwill amongst the team, but again, just my opinion. So those were kind of the three items that got kicked off in discussion. So and those were my conversation, and then it got kind of, it became a heated debate, and I decided to not contribute as much because just it wasn't my tone. I don't like writing in tones that seem aggressive. So I managed to, it just pulled back a little bit. But yeah, it seems like it stirred up emotion and discussion within the community, which is great because it means people care, and that the community is growing to a point where we have different expertise and different opinions and these type of interesting balances in what an open decentralized network operates, right? This is pretty interesting dynamic. So yeah, I personally am for the cloud SPE proposal. I think that overall it's going to be a positive net for the ecosystem. If it does get voted down, I would still encourage the cloud SPE to submit another one with some of the feedback, right, to keep going forward. But yeah, I think my opinion is the amounts are appropriate, the expertise are appropriate, and it's like super timely with the launch of AI inference on the network. Like I think we desperately need feedback on what the network is capable of and the reliability of the inference. So yeah, that's my spiel. Anyone else have an opinion on the Treasury proposal that they'd like to share?
Yeah, I quickly wanted to hop in, but Peter can go first as well. I saw that he was there.
I was just going to toss in my 2 LPT, and my phone is trying to attach here. Still having audio problem.
I really like, you're cutting out quite a bit. I really like that you said, I'm going to throw in my 2 LPT, and then it just like cut out. The timing on that was impeccable. But yes, go ahead.
Thank you. No problem. I do agree with you in so many ways, and I'll keep it short to say that I have voted in terms of delegating. Everybody agreed with apparently go along being delegators as this whole process works, and I hope that I can just put out there probably on my tweet that we think that this is also a vote of confidence in Papa Bear. I've borne witness to his contributions and his involvement over time, and I think that there's a real significant human and real social aspect to Livepeer here on the Discord, and the community's been very supportive since day one that I joined in. I've honestly never seen anything like it. So again, I just have confidence in Papa Bear and the solar farm, and we do actually need all the help we can get. And we've got a large treasury, and I, from my professional experience, think that I think it's an equitable exchange for what I see as a valuable contribution, and again, very timely. And I'm out.
I just want to say I appreciate the kind words directed towards me, and I just want to add also for that both Mike and Speedy they've both been developers for 20 plus years at a publicly traded healthcare company, and for them, I mean, they're I don't want to say this is a pay cut for them, but they have a lot of experience in programming, and I wouldn't work with them personally if I hadn't in the past and seen also how how well they work, and just that they've built a lot of different projects, and they know the types of things that can come up that people miss and then end up having to basically just either eat the cost or try to come back for more money and stuff like that. And I have faith that they've budgeted properly for this, and but also just again their skill set is really just I have complete confidence in their skill set to get this done, and it's part of my job to make sure I stay on top of them, make sure they're on schedule. But I've never really had I never had to push them or anything. They're always have done everything that they're supposed to.
Very cool. That's thank you for your input, Peter, and thank you for following up with that, Papa Bear. Rick, would you like to share your 2 cents or 2 LPT now?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I just wanted to chime in that the Cloud SP, they during this proposal we did a lot of discussion around this topic, and we really felt that this tester was really needed, because currently what the AISP provides are metrics in the gateway and orchestrator side, which could be seen on the public gateway, but there is no way for orchestrators that don't get selected to see what their performance is. There's no way to see currently how how the whole network as a whole operates, what the latencies are there. So this tester is really important, and it was added as a requirement in our roadmap, but we really don't have with everything that we also need to do, we don't have the time to implement ourselves. And Cloud SP from the beginning has been extremely dedicated to also the AI roadmap. They have been in the pre-alpha group either, so helping testing, giving feedback. Apart from that, they have always been in the water cooler chats, discussing the AI subnet, giving us all the feedback we need to implement the core stuff there. And also, when we started working on the AI remote worker, we also asked them for their feedback, and they also shared their feedback. So I think there is a really good track record from this group, also with after their own proposal agreeing to host the public gateway, because we could not do it ourselves. Adding an upscaling pipeline, also their cloud AI generator really helped people see what the network could do. So for me, it was really, when they sent me this proposal, it was really a no-brainer for this group to implement it, because I have confidence in the engineers in the group. So they're all senior engineers. And also, I was not really surprised by the cost that was asked for this job, because what I think people often forget when you don't have to develop it yourself is that if you estimate 100 hours, for example, for the Explorer, it will easily cost you 40% more, because you're running in box and you forget the maintenance also. And also, so my estimation was not far off of this, a little bit lower, but you have to account for also the what Titan says for the volatility in the stock. And if you account that into the price, it really becomes this. And also, one comment that I saw was about the core team hiring. 2 engineers hiring is not that easy. As Titan said, you need to find somebody that really knows the code as well. Mike really knows the code spec well, Speedy Bird as well. So even hiring 2 engineers, this is not really an option here. We are growing the team like crazy, but it takes time. And if you have really good engineers in the community that can do this, it's for me a no-brainer. Also, outside of from the side of decentralization, this system that these engineers get the opportunity to do this. So yeah, I think that were my main points that I wanted to tell. So I voted yes to this proposal. I think they will deliver. And yeah, I think also that, of course, the feedback here is nice. I really like that the community gives feedback on this proposal. I think that's the way that governance should be done. And also, I think there was an offset also from my side that I saw the full proposal for the whole year from the Cloud SP. There are a lot of really good points in that are built upon this. So it's not a one side we do this now proposal, in my opinion. So that gave me confidence as well. But I understand that people that were not involved in that discussion have some questions, and I'm glad that those can be answered in the water cooler chats, and that we have like this procedure of posting a pre-proposal, then having a water cooler chat where everybody could ask questions. We had it last week, of course, people asked questions, and that gave the confidence for the Cloud SP to give the proposal forward. And now we can do before the voting, because it's a longer day, we can do another session. And I'm still really happy how we're doing this experiment with the Treasury, and I think it turned out already really nicely. But there's still a lot of things that we can learn, of course. But I'm happy to answer any technical questions related to this task if people have that, because I had a lot of discussion with Mike. I will not know their full implementation, of course. That's their. I know what they want to, but that's their. In the end, it's their decision to implement it a certain way. But I know what needs to be done for this stuff.
Just a quick technical question. Are they going to be setting up multiple nodes geographically dispersed to test regions like transcoding, or is it going to be, just one node somewhere to for simplicity?
Yeah, it will be multiple nodes, and it will be a Kubernetes cluster, so it should have very high uptime. And I hope that answers your question. I think its plan was to do 3 nodes, but we haven't necessarily decided on the exact regions that we'll target right now. 3 clusters, I should say.
And for the implementation into the dashboard, like the current Explorer, are you working with is it Adam or somebody who's built it out before and has experience with it, or will you guys be doing your own implementation into the Explorer and pushing it?
Probably a better question because that's one of Speedy's tasks. But I think the plan is for him to basically just go in there, set up a PR, and if something comes up where he needs to talk to Adam or whoever is the right person that's handling the Explorer, he'll obviously reach out to him. The hope is that Speedy should be able to get that going himself or do that himself, and then if there's questions about maybe layout or things like that, then we're not trying to do it like without any. We're not trying to do like anything without letting anyone know ahead of time. But we don't want to rely on Livepeer to use any resources for this, or as few as possible.
Excellent. Okay. Cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I'm happy to offer some support if you, at least about like the implementation side, the UI side, if you have ideas, if you need some feedback partner. I also have worked on the Explorer myself, but not as extensive as Adam or Chase. But
Appreciate that. And I'll
There
pass
is
that along to Speedy.
one thing
Okay.
I completely forgot here.
Go ahead.
Hopefully you guys can still hear me.
Yes, go ahead, Peter.
Yep.
Very early on in joining the network, we were, as operators, basically querying an endpoint in your browser or curling it or something that was just spitting out a bunch of raw JSON. I built a quick little Vercel kind of spreadsheet-like dashboard just to list that JSON in pretty format. And since the inception of that tool, which is used on a very regular basis by a lot of our orchestrators, judging by the stats, relies on an open source bit of software, the leaderboard service, or what is it on GitHub? Leaderboard hyphen or dash serverless, and that's also in the proposal as to be updated to support AI jobs, and that is going to be critical as operators on the AI pipeline, and also for me to very easily incorporate those into dashboards like my own that I've shared for our community to use. So just throwing in a little note that there are things in this proposal that support other aspects of our ecosystem system, and I'll just drop a link to the stream tester if there are people here that are unaware of this tool that relies on something that the proposal is going to update for our new pipelines with AI.
Yeah, and I'll add that when Peter added that, it was a game changer because I used to pull it up, especially as a new orchestrator, and just be looking at this just huge dump of JSON data and trying to go, does this line up with that? And here's it? So that was like as simple as it is to look at. I mean, it was truly. I mean, anyone that was here before that existed, I think beyond appreciates how easy that makes it to see that data. And yeah, I don't know the exact details on how Mike and Speedy plan to implement that, but or to work with that, or if it was going to be a separate one, because there is quite a bit more data. So I don't know that it would necessarily work in the same, but it will be for something very similar to show the AI results. And then there was also, we would plan to do an API that people can use to pull it into their own Grafana dashboards as well. use Prometheus to pull it in through like a JSON importer, and I will document all that to make it easy for orgs to figure it out. And obviously, I'll be available to help people set that up too. So it will not only be publicly available, but you can just, if you're I want to check out my Grafana and see that data, you can see your own personal data there.
Excellent. Well, it looks like actually during this conversation we've managed to move the needle a little bit on the Treasury. So yeah, it's cool that we get to see some of this discussion having some impact real time. So hope that's been helpful for people who are on the edge or wanted some more clarity on the proposal. So that's it's awesome. Great. Any other comments or questions around the Treasury proposal for the AI job tester? All right. Cool. Well, that wraps up that conversation.
I'll just quickly add.
Yes, go ahead.
If there's anyone who's still undecided and has other questions, please post them either in the forum or Discord, tag me or anyone from the cloud, and we will do our best to address those for you.
Very good. Thank you, Papa Bear, for being here, and yeah, thanks for putting this forward and making the Livepeer AI, progress happen quickly, because I was listening to a podcast the other day with Lex Friedman interviewing Elon Musk. It's like an 8.5-hour podcast or something like this, the longest podcast ever. And they're spending $650 million in the next 6 months to try and get a training a new training algorithm out for an LLM faster than Google. And it's like these guys are spending billions of dollars like every quarter trying to do the race in AI to get just a few months edge ahead of each other. We need to band together and at least be able to handle the inference part reliably and quickly and cost effectively, as soon as possible. It's moving exceptionally quick. And so if we've got the money in the Treasury, we have the expertise in the community, I think this is every opportunity to make sure that Livepeer becomes like a solid competitor in the inference side of these models, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, well spoken. It's really critical, I think, as well, because what people don't realize is that they put this money in there to do the training, but in the end, some of those companies also own the compute behind it. So there will be also, if we don't act as Livepeer, they also will get that part, and we really need to ensure that there is equal access, decentralized access to these AI models for any generation coming up to available. So you really listened to the 8 hours. I saw that podcast and I did not yet.
Oh, I'm not through it, sir. No. It's not. I'm not. No. I'm like 2 hours into it. But in the first 2 hours,
I'm 10 minutes.
In the first 2 hours, he speaks about the amount of money they're investing in training, and it's mind blowing. Like they have 100,000 GPUs, and they need like the problem they're having is that when the AI when the algorithm stops training, or if it needs to take a pause, it shuts down like a computer, right? Like it'll like the power consumption will just shut down immediately. And what they're having is they have all this power, and it's so much power that if the power just shuts down immediately, you have a problem with too much power. Where do you offset the power to because it's there. So their problem is called basically power jitter. they have so much power to power these 100,000 GPUs that if the GPUs just suddenly stop, like how do you disperse the power into the ground? Like where do you put it? And then if it starts up 2 seconds later, how do you handle so there's like power jitter problems they're having with electricity because it doesn't act as quickly as compute, right? it's absolutely mind blowing. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to the first 2 hours. That's like the part that Elon is on. It's like, yeah. There's the race.
It's a,
The race is like three. If you're just 3 months ahead, like they win, right? So it's a wild conversation. I highly recommend the first 2 hours.
yeah, I didn't realize that. So that's a really interesting thing. They need a really big capacitor to store that or something. I will watch the whole now at 4 times the speed or 3 times the speed just to be quicker.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's extremely critical to move fast. Similar for the Livepeer network. I think we're really well situated. We moved quicker than some of the other decentralized protocol. And if we keep on this pace, we could realize the dream that we could become more stream for in mainstream in the inference market and really help provide creators with another alternative than just the big cloud providers again owning everything.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of engineers, and we have engineers in the community. I think people don't realize how nice it is that even the AISP is built upon open source contributors from the community, and I think that's the best hires that you can do. And we really have something beautiful. I still believe.
Very cool. Okay, we've been on this topic for about an hour, which is a big topic, but I think we can move on if no one else has any other comments to make. So one last round. Any other comments? Cool. Okay, let's continue on. Kind of speaking on this like open community kind of stuff, and open developer. DOB basically shouted out Jason for doing bounty work, and I guess you're cranking those out. Jason, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with doing the bounties, what you've put forward, and yeah, just give us an update on how that's going.
Oh yeah, there was like a first proposal for like a bounty of non-infant steps, and that's how I got started. I looked it up, and I think I got inspired from like for the same thing to text to image. I think that you implemented. I checked it out. I think. And I was like, maybe I could do this. Like, I'm not really good at I don't have a ton of experience like programming, but like I just looked through it and it was like, okay, maybe I could do it, and I just started it. And after that, I got inspired and I took on more bounties. I also implemented like, oh yeah, there's in the chat. I implemented mm, the SFast one for now, and also prompt embed and also frame interpolation. There's a couple there. Those are for optimization, and the frame interpolation, that one is really interesting because most of the videos that we produce are a bit like laggy because they don't have the FPS. Maybe some are like 10 or 12 FPS, but with that we could generate 24 FPS and even like make them longer. So that one was really interesting. Now I'm working on implementing that to the Go Livepeer side, and that's a different problem I'm trying to solve. But yeah, all in all, it's really been steep learning curve, but I'm really enjoying it, and everyone is so helpful. And I'm in a chat where if I get stuck or anything, they're really ready to help. So it's really awesome.
Very cool. The LPT rewards that you get for each of these bounties, what is are they sufficient? Do you feel they're appropriate? What is your take on being somebody that has completed many of these?
Well, as I said, I'm not really a good, like, I don't have a background in programming that much, so it took me like a lot longer. I mean, a lot longer just to understand the whole code base and how it works. Like, what does what? It's a whole thing. That took me a couple of days to figure it out. But I think if you have a good experience, you could probably finish them in like a couple of days. And I think the payout is really good as well. Like Rick really puts in like all the details, how you can implement it, what do you need to implement in the bounties itself. So the first starting point is really good. Just all the resources you can get and everything. So I think the payout is pretty good.
Great. So it's motivating enough to do it and want to contribute, without the the. I guess, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that people that are doing these bounties feel they're compensated appropriately, not too much, not too little, and that it's motivating to keep going is kind of the goal, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to learn the code base on your own time. That's a different thing, because just by looking at it, it would take like quite longer to work out. But after you know it, I think the implementation part wouldn't be that long, and the payout is quite like reasonable for that.
Very cool. Rick, do you want to tell us a little bit about the bounties, how you come up with them, who can contribute? Can anyone put forward bounties, or is it just the AISPE team? And yeah, tell us a little bit more about the bounties.
Yeah, first a shout out to Jason. He does. It's impressive. Thank you so much. I'm also glad to hear that the experience was nice. So the one thing that I want to improve is really better developer documentation. But currently we try to replace that with just offering support to the bounty hunter. So for example, you get like a chat, and if you really have questions, we try to answer them there, or first before that you have the developer channel. And I have I think I'm really happy with how this bounty turned out. So it was an idea together with the ecosystem team. Rich is really together with me currently leading this and getting feedback. Also, the rest of the ecosystem team is there involved, because what's really important to know about this bounty system is that with the AI, it's just a trial. We try this out to see if it works, because what in the end what we want to do for Livepeer is grow really core contributors that are in the system, and really also give new developers, even with less experience, a way to contribute to the system, so that we can get a really strong open source ecosystem where we can build upon. And so it's really a trial with the AISP currently. The bounties that are put out are now all AISPE bounties, but you can also submit your own bounties. I did made a comment about this. For the AISPE, you can just do feature requests on our dashboard, but also there is a discussion board on the bounty the dashboard, how do you call it, GitHub repository, that people can use to state what do they think is important, also for the transcoding side. And if we see that something is important for the transcoding side, at the beginning, we can look if there is like money from the grants node, for example, or another source of funding, to see if we can support the bounty already within the ecosystem team, or the everything that is related to that. But also, I think in the future, the other SPEs can also put their bounties on the board. One thing that has to be improved, this is like a trial. So the current bounties are all on GitHub. You can see that it can be improved. We can, for example, have a website showing them. We also made the decision to do it on GitHub because we looked at bounty providers. So people that allow you to use an application to really post bounties and get people paid out at when those bounties are done. But those providers charge about 20% of the bounty amount. And currently we felt that it was not worth it and that this GitHub solution works. But that's mainly, I think that answers your question a little bit. I think I got carried away a little bit because I'm excited about this. But everybody in the end should be able to suggest a bounty. So there is a discussion board. I think, yes, I will share the link. So if you have ideas, also for the transcoding side, put them in here. If you're an AI or an SPE, also contact me or Rich and just to see if you could put a bounty on there. Currently, it is not possible to just post an issue. The reason being that's because to prevent spam bots or like scammers. So if you post an issue just on there with your bounty, it will get closed automatically. But if you contact us during this trial phase, we can also put other bounties that are not AI related on there.
Very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. And you get a link to the bounties there. Perfect. All right. Great. Any other comments or questions around the bounty system and how to get involved? Peter says, I'd say the bounties could be a lot higher. I mean, I agree, but I also disagree. I have no idea. So that's my opinion. But I just...
I can share a little bit about how we calculate, but I think we should be more transparent in that. I think I shared one time an estimation that it's really hard to do an estimation for bounties because you're working with multiple levels of experience in coders. So what could take me with knowledge about the AI code base could take me 2 hours, can take somebody that is just starting like 2 days easily. So what we currently try to do, I make an estimation of like what it would take for a median developer to do that. Then sometimes I add a little bit on top of that, and I look at currently the hourly rate, for example, what's paid for a consultant in the US, as an estimation what a bounty should be worth. But I think there's a lot to learn there, and we can improve a lot. Currently, they're priced in LPT. The price is down, I think, because it's from the 5,000 LPT that was in the Treasury. Yeah, I think that explains how currently the bounties are calculated. So really an estimation based on like a media developer with like a boundary or a band of extra time, because every day if you do software development, it takes a little bit longer, mostly estimated by an average or fair rate, in my opinion, based on the US system. So, but if people have feedback on that or think that bounties can be higher, I'm 100% open to that. We're just trying this out. So.
Yeah, I think they should be higher. Just my opinion, but I'm always on the high side of things because I think that motivating strangers to build on things requires more incentive because there's less guarantee. You know, like. If you work for a large company, you get benefits and wage stability and long-term options and, you know, and so now you are working on a decentralized protocol where you get to spend who knows how many hours working for a short amount of time with absolutely no guarantee of future work or anything. And so therefore there's just a large premium on that type of work. So to, you know, personally, I've just seen a lot of people in crypto kind of compare a wage with Google or Amazon or Microsoft to a wage in like a decentralized Web3 world. And it's like, those are not the same. One is a large corporations where you have a lot of times employee rights and you can sue them for, you know, letting you go based termination on the wrong basis, and you know there's all types of backstops for guaranteeing things in crypto, especially working on decentralized bounties. You know, there just has to be a 2x premium for that person's time because there is no it's being a contractor, but even more like flaky. So I think the incentives need to be high. You will attract more people. You will attract good people, and that's the value you're gonna get is much higher than the cost of what you get from these type of people. So for me, I tend to be on the high side when it comes to contracting people through bounties and these kinds of things. So.
Yeah, I think I agree. So I kept it a little bit at a reasonable rate or lower because it's also community money. So it was fun. It was done in the Treasury. I will put out a vote. Also, I will put it a little bit high, but I will put out a vote how other people think because I'm curious to hear what the whole community think about it.
Yeah, no worries. But then again, the high side of things have gotten me into hot water in the past, so be careful of getting advice from Titan. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. So okay.
Yeah, but it's a good point. I had it. I think Carmen said it as well. So if you want to attract good people into an ecosystem, then you have to charge a little bit or provide a little bit of premium there. But we don't have to make it like giving free money away. But I'm curious to hear what everybody thinks about it. I have a thread, I will link it, about feedback for the bounty program. Please drop all your feedback in there.
Cool. All right. Let's continue on. We got a couple more topics. And do you want to talk to us about the startup program that's happening? Give us an update.
Yeah, sure. So we're just starting month 2 of the program. It's a 3-month program. And some updates. We will be having the demo day in October, early October, and we will be showcasing a number of projects at Token 2049. So that is kind of the timeline of upcoming projects. It's moving along really nicely. We're building a lot of pipelines for the AI subnet, which is exciting for when we launch that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone has other questions, but the article outlines a lot of what I just said. And I've been really enjoying working with the teams and seeing all their amazing implementations. So there's, I think actually, yeah, Nils in the audience, but yeah, you might see some projects launching things soon. And I am excited to support their efforts and products. So yeah, look out for those. And I think that's it on the startup program. But there will be a lot more coming out later this month and early next month.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to jump in there for a second and just share some transparency about the project I'm working on and where we're at. That's cool.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Well,
Awesome.
wait. This is not up for me to decide, and you're the coordinator of this, so you get to decide the amount of alpha being shared here. All right. Go ahead.
No, it was more just pure transparency. We had an event planned. We're doing the Discord bot, basically like a. It's very different from something like Midjourney. It's much more community and like events focused.
Is it just me or is no breaking up?
Am I cutting out?
Yeah,
Sounds fine to me.
Sounds good to me.
Maybe
To me as well.
Okay, it might just be you, Ann. Yeah, I'll keep going, and hopefully Ann hears me all right. Yeah, so we're doing a Discord bot as part of a larger Discord bot that we've been working on for 2 years called FlipSuite. It's like Web3 on Discord. You get a wallet, you can do transactions and stuff, and that will be tied with this sort of generative AI integration. We're excited for it to release. We like where it's at right now. It can do quite a bit. Something crazy happened the other day, though, that I think it would be nice just to be transparent about. Our bot, this FlipSuite bot that we've been working on for 2 years, actually got flagged by Discord while we were running a notification test. So as of right this second, you can't add the bot to any Discord server, and you can't receive any notifications from the bot. We had planned to release at the end of this month with like a Giga event, and obviously with a situation like this, there has to be some changes. So that's sort of where we're at right now, where we pretty much have a finished product. We're just wrapping up the event system, but we've been sort of kicked in the balls by Discord and are appealing with them to get our bot back in good standing. So some turbulence towards the end, and I'm really hoping we can make it across the finish line with a large event instead of having to sort of roll out quietly. If that makes sense. But yeah, just wanted to give an update there.
are these did I hear this correctly, and that these projects are going to be featured at the Token 2049 conference?
Yeah, sorry, my internet's been bad today. Sorry, I was like, I can't hear anything. Anyway, yeah, so we will have, I think, 3 projects present at Token 2049 giving lightning talks. That's the current structure. So we'll be picking a few projects to present there, which is very exciting. And the teams will be either flown out or what's the other option? Either flown out or we'll give, recorded videos to the room. So still working out some details there, but yeah, I'm super excited for people to see the projects because there's so many great ones. And, I don't know, and I'm excited for Null and Friends to be launching their bot. Thanks for jumping up and giving more details on that. I wasn't sure how much I could share, so I was just trying to be, trying to be more secretive. But I'm happy you could share more, Null.
Very cool. Well, I hope that the Discord bot gets resolved soon. So that's good, and it's good to hear that these projects could be featured at the conference going on there. So that's excellent news. Great. N, are you going to Token 2049?
Still up in the air because we are pivoting what the programming is on the ground. I was initially going to be going, but now it's probably a no. But potentially I will be going to DevCon in November, or is it December? November, right? Yeah. So potentially you'll see me in the wild. But unfortunately, Token 2049 is probably a no right now. But that's okay, because I always say I don't really like to travel. So whenever there's a plan of like, hey, let's go to this thing, and then it's actually, oh, sorry, we can't do it anymore, I'm always like, cool with me.
There we go. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. Let's continue on. So we covered the Treasury proposal, bounties, the startup program. The last topic is going to be a little more technical. This is around the gas spikes and the autoPriceAdjust default to, I guess, false, and also setting like a max gas price default. Who's working on that? Was that a John thing? Was that a who was thinking about doing this?
Yeah, I just opened a quick PR on it after our discussion last week, but apparently I didn't have the full picture of what the problem was and what we were trying to solve. So initially the PR was just intended to be a quick fix to that default value. But after hearing some feedback, it sounds like we have a more complex issue around how do we handle gas estimation. So Brad and I have been collaborating a little bit on that. We don't have an issue open in GitHub. We just have the PR. So maybe we should create an issue to gather more information on it, like logs and stuff. But I'm curious if anyone has the additional details. So my first thought is just increasing your deposit would help, but that's not the best solution. So I don't know if it's really a gas estimation problem or what does it look like on the gateway side when this is impactful. That's what I've got to kick it off with.
Now, where's Brad? Brad, you here? Let's pull
he's in the audience.
Sorry to invoke you.
But you just gotta. He's like the son of Odin. You just have to call upon him, and he comes down.
I don't know how much more I can add though, because it's like on my list to look at a little bit more. But got me looking at the face value calc. It's just I don't know that any of this has been looked at really since we switched to Arbitrum, and Arbitrum has gone through a decent number of upgrades since then. So I think John's going to start. Sounds like, and we'll probably work together on trying to kick the tires on this and seeing how it estimates it. But in this process, Rick posted the link to the PR. I used the Livepeer subgraph and pulled up the redeem ticket event and sorted by gas used. There were some really expensive ones, like $200 worth to redeem a ticket. They were a while ago, and there's not a lot of them, but there's definitely some that are $10, $12, $14. One point on the really expensive ones. Do we all remember that broadcaster that kept paying tickets to itself, like A55 or something like that? I think.
Yep, I do.
I think that was the Ethereum address of the really expensive one. So I don't really know what to think, to be honest, of those ones. But
Wait, are they still
long story short, I think
broadcasting?
me and John are gonna look at it.
Is A55 still broadcasting, or was that like something just old that you dug up?
I don't know that it was that old, but it wasn't new either. If that makes sense. It's somewhere midterm a while ago. I posted some of them, and I posted the graph. If you go to like the playground, the area to test like the Livepeer subgraph on the not the hosted, but the decentralized version of it, you can use that query and you change the Ethereum address. I used mine on there, but you can kind of see what I was looking at.
And that number that you pointed at, the static redeem gas L2 variable, like what is that? Do you know what that number really is for?
From memory of when I looked at this a long time ago, was they just picked that. And I think it actually made more sense at the switch to Arbiter, because a lot of the redeemed tickets I think were closer to 1 million in gas used, but now they're 500,000 or below, I think, for the most part.
Okay, that makes sense. I've also heard like with Arbitrum, sometimes it can use the L1 price if L2 goes too high. I think we might have saw that many months ago when they were trying to do the Odyssey thing. That might be where it spikes really high.
Yeah, there was a lot of spikes. That's kind of the part of the thing is I was going to look and try to understand how that's calculated, because honestly, that's been a detail I have not tried to focus on. We have enough things to focus on generally. So any of the people that actually run ARB nodes might be able to shed some light on that or look at that and explain that a little bit better than me.
Peter says +1 for a GitHub issue. So that, I guess, other people can look into it.
Yeah, I know that was on my...
kind of hijacked John's simple one.
Under your...
No, I said last time that I would open a GitHub issue, but I need to dive into this problem as well to really open a GitHub issue. So I think it's better if you have the availability, John or Brett, you can do it. Also, this will affect both the AI side and the transcoding side. So I think it's really nice if you also have the transcoding team's opinion on how to solve it.
Yeah,
I can
go for it.
I said I'm happy to open the issue as well, but then I need some feedback. I will read through your pull request.
Yeah, however we want to do it, I'm happy to open the issue, or if someone else wants to, we can pull the details from this PR over into that. And maybe if the studio team has some logs or something on the gateway issues, that would be interesting to look at too.
Yeah, it probably makes sense for me to open it. I can just copy what I responded onto yours. Okay. Yours a lot simpler.
Yeah, you've got a lot more detail
than what I added on there. But then, John, I think me and you can kind of look at that test or try to run some tests or adjust some tests and see if the behavior is what we think it's going to be, with the different gas prices.
So did we see an effect in the AI network already? I think we saw the effect in the transcoding network clearly, because I think our price AI, the max limit from the boss cache is set a lot higher. But did we see something already dropped? I didn't see it myself.
I don't know. I know what happened with me is I have my test broadcaster with the reserve of 0.10 ETH, and I was testing the max price per capability, and it just stopped working for me. I couldn't send tests with the actual pricing, and that's what got me looking into it, seeing what was going on, and that's when I figured out gas was spiking to like 1 or 2 gwei. So if when I was looking at this, and I think I put a comment on this in the orchestrating channel, I think a reserve of 0.36 ETH would cover the average gas price of 3 gwei, but that's one thing I want to test still. I haven't tested that. That's just doing math and saying I think this will work. When I saw my 0.10 ETH stop working at about 0.8 gwei, and then my math came out to 0.83, it would work up to 0.83. So that seemed about right, but math has misled me before. So I want to actually test it.
Great, thank you for taking that on, guys.
Right on.
Yeah, and I think
Livepeer Inc. has 18 ETH as a reserve, as far as I can tell. So I don't think this impacts them the same way that it does us with our test broadcasters.
Yeah, maybe it was the Cloud SV gateways we saw blip recently through the past few weeks when the spikes happened.
Do you guys? I'm just kind of looking through the PR quickly here. Is there a specific error that the gateways are throwing? Because I can do a search. And
it would
see if I
be
see
from the orchestrators. They basically just say insufficient reserve.
They're okay. So yeah. So
if you see a spike in those types of errors, like through a Loki log parsing or something, that if that correlates to the gas price spike, that would be why.
Yeah, and there was also, I think.
So look.
Yeah, there was a suggestion, I think, also from Mike to if the gas is too high, that the orchestrator still does the job, but then it redeems it later. But that is a whole different level of implementation there. But if it, if it's really, if it's really a problem about the. Okay, you go first.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying that was, I think that was my suggestion last week, and it was really kind of throwing out, would that be a possibility? But if there's another way to do it without it, getting further deeper into the code, even better.
I think it's a good suggestion. So if
go for it, Rick.
Yeah, I think it's a good suggestion. If, for example, it's really about the amount of deposit or reserve that the gateway have, and it doesn't really happen outside of test broadcasters. But I don't see how it can hurt to implement it. But then we have to discuss it with the transcoding team as well.
Papa, I know Mike had asked,
do we know?
He had asked me a couple times on like a formula to figure out what the reserve can be. So I think I found it, and it's 0.36 ETH, but I want to try to adjust one of these tests and see if it proves out. Then we can talk about maybe reducing the gas price, the average gas price, and see if, because 3 gwei is not the average gas price, not even close to that usually, but it might be a combination of the average gas price and then the gas limit, which I don't think a lot of us use to protect ourselves.
I don't use it personally, but yeah, I think you're right. I don't think many people are using it. But yeah, that when it hits up that 34 is just so much higher than the point. What is it, 0.01, which is what I consider what's the baseline. That's just, it's hard to really find something that's going to account for that without opening up yourself to a lot of potential risk. It's not just a few times the amount. Was that 3,400, 34,000? I don't even know.
Yeah, that was a
wild
one
right now, but yeah. Yeah, but it does happen. It does happen, and for that to take down, a big chunk of the network is. I feel like it is important to figure out a solution. I mean, I don't think it would take you. I think there's still issues even when it hits 20 and things like that, which usually are short, but it's hard to promote and sell something that, well, if the gas goes up, which we have no control over, your stuff's just going to stop working and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, and in this era of like what we're doing with AI, there might be a proliferation of a lot of more people trying to spin up their own gateway. I'm not sure how that's going to work out with apps, if they're going to want to do that or not. I think generally speaking, no, they're not going to want to do that. But it's still a good idea, I think, to take a look at it and say, can we make this easier and less prone to just failing in a way that makes no sense to people? Because that 503 error is not, you get it a lot for different things, and it might be confusing to some people trying to use it. So I think it's worth it to look at.
For sure.
All right. Cool. I think we covered that topic. And I think we've covered most of the topics. So, any other topics or items we want to cover before we end this call? Peter says, check out the big brain on Brad. Dude, that's such a good line. Such a good line.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I think I'm going to watch it again.
Dude,
That's a great movie.
it's just so good. So good.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Every time you watch it, I swear, something new.
So good. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming to today's Water Cooler Chat, where we're making Livepeer the open and decentralized video infrastructure of the world. Thank you for coming and participating. We will see you all next week. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Have a nice week.